Hey guys, welcome to this video, which is just my feeble attempt at hashing out some of the challenges that we're all going to be facing over the next however long this remote learning and remote teaching thing lasts. I know there's a lot going on. I know there's a lot of challenges that you face at home as well at school. And for that reason, I think it's important to get a sense of perspective, to remember what we're about and to remember where we're at with our lives. And to do that, I just want to reiterate a couple of ideas that we've been talking about all year so far, and some things that you guys will just recognize from being in class with me and from talking about particular things with me. So specifically, there are only two ideas I really spend a lot of time on during any given year in talking to you guys about. The first is to ask the question, are you a conscious decision maker in your own lives? What that's basically about is you've got two ways of making choices, as you know, and as we've talked about. One is to make decisions consciously, to be the driver of your own life, to make choices every day about where you're heading and what you're doing, and be informed about those choices. The second is the subconscious decision. And that's the kind of decision where, for example, you decide to stay up really late, you wake up the next day, you're super tired, and normally you'd go to school, you'd be super tired, and your learning would be less effective. You didn't necessarily choose that, but that's what happened. That's a subconscious decision. The conscious decision there was, I'm going to stay up late. So I want you to think about that, especially as you go into this process, so this remote learning. There are a lot of opportunities here to make decisions. Some are going to be good for you. Some are going to be less good for you, if not bad. And it's up to you to decide which is which and to decide how you're going to go about making your choices. The second question is very closely related and something that's going to matter a lot to you guys going forward. And it's, what do you really want and what are you willing to do to get it? Now, obviously, this is related to the first question. It's about where you're going. It's about what you're willing to put in. And if you are a conscious decision maker who has a really clear idea of what they want and a goal, an actual goal, a way of getting there, then you're going to be successful in your life. You're going to be successful in high school, but you're going to be successful beyond high school. Where you start hitting choppy waters is where one of those two things starts getting out of whack. Either you start making more decisions subconsciously, or you don't know what you really want. You have no idea what you're willing to put in to get this vague aspirational goal. So those are things I want you guys thinking about as we go through this. I know it's a hard time. I know there's a lot going on. We thought that it was a bad start to the year. There was violence in the Middle East. And then, of course, the biggest pandemic in the last 70 or 80 odd years hit. And it's still going on, obviously. We don't know what the future holds. All we can control is the moment, what we've got right now here in front of us. And I want you guys to try to use that moment as well as you can to not take the foot off the pedal. You're only a quarter through this year. This is a really important year in your development. It's a really important year for your futures. And I want you to see it that way. I want you to keep that in mind. Things will get better. Things will change. But for now, we're going through some choppy waters. Even on my end, even on our end, all your teachers, we're going through some things that aren't easy to figure out. Like a lot of what we do in the classroom is stuff we can't really do through remote teaching. And what you guys have to do, of course, is stuff that you generally have been doing over time, but you're going to have no one there looking after you. You're going to have no one there telling you how to do it, being a presence. That sometimes is a very motivating thing to have. You're going to have to be your own police. You're going to have to be your own teacher in some ways, keeping yourself on track, because it's going to get a lot harder for us to do it on our end. If you don't have that presence, if you don't have that motivating factor, if you can't self-motivate to get through this, you're going to have a lot of difficult times. And we're going to have a lot of difficult conversations because you still need to do work. There are still things you're going to have to sort out. There are still assessments to be done, and you need to keep up with all of that. Now look, we will eventually figure all this stuff out. We will get good with remote teaching and remote learning. We'll get to a point where we might even be enjoying it. We might enjoy this new kind of way of doing school, doing education. But remember, it is a short-term thing. It's not going to be around forever. Once we're comfortable, it will let us get through it before we get back to business. So it's up to you to make the most of it. It's up to you to make use of it in a way that's productive for you, in a way that's going to help you out long term. Now, there are lots of ways to go wrong with this. The most, I suppose, important one, the most obvious one is disengagement. You know, it's so easy to put down, essentially put down the pen and stop working. And then you find yourself falling behind a little at first, and then a lot, and then you start freaking out. And the longer you go without engaging, the harder it is to get back into being engaged, to be involved. You've got to be the master of your own fate. We'll do our bit on our end. We'll do what we can, but you've got to do your bit too. You got to ask questions. You got to get involved in the class forums. You got to send emails. You've got to make sure you do your work and that you do it consistently and that you do it to a good standard, because that's the only way you will learn and the only way you will get better. And it is so, so important that you do so. Don't be that guy who gets up at 10 o'clock and goes, oh, well, they probably didn't check. It doesn't really matter. I'll just click that I attended each of those classes anyway, even though I didn't. I can make the work up later. That's not how it works. Eventually, we will cotton on to the fact that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, and we'll have to chase you down. But that's you making a decision that will not lead to good outcomes. That's you making a decision to do bad by yourself. You're hurting yourself first and foremost. I do look forward to seeing what you're able to produce through this process. It is challenging in its own way. I recognize that. But you're going to be able to put in a lot of good work. And there's going to be very few distractions in your way. You're going to have a lot of opportunities. You're going to have a lot of chances to really show what you can do. That's not always possible in class. You know, some of you guys get challenged by people talking to you all the time. Even though, you know, none of you have bad intentions, that kind of distraction can be off-putting, and it can lead to you not producing your best and not having the best outcomes in class. This is an opportunity to remove all distractions from your environment. You know, wall yourself off, really self-isolate, and do what you have to do. And you can get amazing outcomes. You know, you can do the kind of learning that you haven't been able to do because you're not great operating around other people who distract you constantly. This is an opportunity. It's not a good thing, obviously, this whole process. It's not good that we have to go through it. It's not good that it's detracting from our year. It's not good that it's keeping us out of class and away from each other. But it's an opportunity. Treat it that way. Create the opportunity for yourself. And if you do so, and if you use it properly, you will get a good outcome. You will experience success. You will get to go forward and develop and to continue to become the person you're meant to be. Fundamentally, you're all good people. I believe that you will make the right choices. I believe that you will chase the right outcomes, that you will set goals for yourselves that are realistic, but at the same time, goals that will help you become who you're meant to be. I hope you do so. Make sure to keep in touch. Make sure to stay in touch with your teachers. Make sure to use those class pages. Show your engagement. Show that you're around. And make sure to ask questions if things confuse you. Don't simply log off and leave it alone. Make sure that you take up the opportunity, this challenge that's been laid before you, and become better people for it. I hope you do so. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.